Hey guys, you're watching Simply Emily, and today I'm going to be talking about the struggles of finding a job after college. So, this whole vlog is about me graduating from college and figuring out what I want to do and all this kind of stuff. And I recently got a new job, which is awesome because it took forever. It took forever. It was ridiculous how long it took, and I'm so happy with my new job, but it took forever. Let's just talk about the very beginnings of finding a new job. This is kind of a rant video, but also kind of everybody knows what I'm talking about when you graduate from college and am looking for a job. So basically, you go to college, you spend all this freaking money, and you spend all this time studying and all this kind of stuff, and you graduate and you're like, yes, I'm gonna get such a great job, I put in all this work and I'm gonna find my dream job and it's gonna be great. So then you go on to like Monster and LinkedIn and what else? I went on Craigslist. You can find some good jobs on there, just have to weed out the sketchy ones. Glassdoor, all these different websites, and you start applying. Okay, so you're applying a whole day. Well, it takes you about an hour to fill out 2 applications. So after an hour, you're like, man, I didn't even really apply to any applications. I only applied to 2. Because you see, what happens is you upload your resume, then you go and fill out your application, and you have to fill out your resume on another page. Type it all out once again. Who cares if it looked all nice and pretty on this other piece of paper? They still want that piece of paper, but they also want you to retype the entire thing on there. So then you fill out this application, you're like, wow, great, that's done. And you get an email that says, hey, we want you to fill out a 45-minute questionnaire that talks about ethics. And so you go and fill out the questionnaire, and it's like 5 totally disagree, 1 totally agree. And you can't be in the middle because they don't want to think that you're wish-washy on ethics. So you go through this 45-minute survey, and it really does take 45 minutes. Don't underestimate those surveys. They take 45 minutes. So then you spend like a couple weeks applying, and you're waiting, and nobody calls you back. Nobody even tells you that they got your application or that they filled the position already or anything. You don't hear anything at all. And you're like, wow, I am such a failure. I graduated college, I had all these high hopes, and I'm gonna do great things, and I didn't even get any callback from any applications that I put in. So, thanks to the job applying process just crushing all of our spirits and hopes and dreams, I started applying for new jobs. I was really happy with my job in Charleston. I was really upset that I had to leave, but Caleb got a new job in Greenville, so I had to find a new job, obviously. And I started applying like 2 months before I moved here. And I wasn't getting any calls. It was really, really discouraging. It was the most stressful situation I've ever been in my entire life. It was so stressful knowing that I was going to a new place and did not have a job. So the guy that I worked for, he asked me what address I was using on my application or on my resume, and I told him I went in Charleston. And so he said, well, maybe you should put your sister-in-law's address since you don't have an address in the place that you're moving yet, because a lot of companies don't even look at the rest of your resume if you put down that you're from somewhere else, because they don't want to pay relocation costs or anything like that. You know, do they ever think that maybe someone's moving to that place and I'm just looking for a job? I don't want any relocation costs. So I changed it on my resume, the address on my resume, and I got 5 callbacks in 1 week. Really? But it was nice because then I didn't feel like such a failure. I actually got people who were interested in me. But if you're not getting any calls back from applications, chances are that they might not want to pay your relocation, so make sure that you're putting your address close to the place where you're applying. Another word of advice for whenever you're filling out those applications is copy and paste is your best friend. Your best friend. I typed everything out on a Google Doc, and then I would copy and paste it in there so I didn't have to keep typing. I avoid typing at all costs. So if you don't want to spend all that time filling stuff out, I would recommend filling it out once on a Google Doc, separating it all nice, organizing it and all that kind of stuff, and then copying it and pasting it there. Another thing that you need to think about is cover letters. What the heck? I didn't even know what a cover letter was. until I had to do one, and I asked Caleb about it, and he sent me like a template of one that he did before, so I kind of got to like look at that and change it to like where it applied to me and what job I was going for and all that kind of stuff. But basically, you're just talking about why you think that you'd be good for that job, why your skills would be good for that job, which I don't know why. I think they're kind of pointless, to be honest. They could just look at your resume and say, wow, she has really good credentials for this job, but they don't. Actually, the job I have now, I didn't have to do a cover letter for, which I was very thankful for, so thank you, job, if you're watching this. Next, I'm gonna talk about the interview process if you did get a job. Now, for me, by the time that I had actually started going to all these interviews and stuff, I was so pumped. So like the first couple ones, I was a little nervous about, but after like the first two, I was like, man, I did this so many times. I can do this in my sleep, and I was so confident going in there. So I think the key is just acting super confident when you go in and act like you already have the job. And I know people say this all the time, but I did it and it made me feel so much better. Like it did more for me, I think, than it did for my employer. Like they always say, go in, act like you already have the job, and they're gonna give it to you because they see how confident you are in yourself. But really, acting confident and acting like I already had the job did more for me, because I was like, yeah, you know what? I do already have this job. This is in the bag. I am so qualified for this. I didn't do that in my interview. No, I didn't do good. Something that I didn't know when I first started applying for jobs, and then I found out later on in the process, was that if you do get an interview, a lot of times you can like type in, I can't remember who has it, but you can type in on Google and say, I had an interview for Verizon as like one of my backup jobs. And which, if you work at Verizon, that's great. I thought about going there. They have good pay and good benefits. But anyway, you can type in on Google Verizon interview questions, and some people have put questions that they ask from Verizon up there, which is awesome, because then it makes you feel a little bit more prepared whenever you're going into the interview. And you can think about like the questions that you would answer. And so I did that before a couple, like that interview, and I think one or two more. And it really helped me, because then I was like, okay, all right, I have my answers for these. And they did ask me a good amount of questions that I had found online. So it really did help in the long run. So the last thing I'm really going to talk about here, like touch on, is deciding what job that you want. For me, it was really hard because I graduated with a Spanish and business degree, which everybody, whenever I would say that, they were like, wow, you can do so much with that. You have so many great opportunities. That's so needed, blah, 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 which I do agree. Like in any field, really, Spanish is such a help because there's so many people that speak Spanish in America right now. But the business part of it was really hard, because when you're a business administration major, you know, you take classes, you touch on every different part of business. So you have accounting and marketing and organizational management and human resources and all this kind of stuff, all packaged into one degree, which is great. You get a very well-rounded education, but at the same time, it can be really hard to pick a focus, because for me, I didn't feel like I was very specialized in any one part of the degree. When I was applying for jobs, I was looking more towards the human resources field, that direction. But I was also applying to anything that I thought I was qualified for, or could be qualified for, or I wasn't really qualified for it, but I thought that I would really like it. So I was applying for marketing jobs, I was applying for management jobs, I was applying for finance jobs, and all this different kind of stuff that I thought I could like, because I didn't really know what I wanted to do at all. I had no idea what I wanted to do, so I said, you know what, I'll try something. If I don't like it, then I know I don't like it, and I can get another job. Like, it's not a big deal. So I would say if you aren't positive, let's start with that first. If you are positive and know what you want to do 100%, I am so proud of you. You have your life together, and I am very proud of you. So proud. But if you don't know what you're doing, like I feel like a lot of us are when you graduate from college, you are not alone, first of all. Obviously, that's what my whole vlog is supposed to be about, is me having no idea of really what I'm doing with my life or who I am, and just figuring out what I'm about, my personality, what I want to do with my life. If you don't know what you want to do, look around, take your time. You know, I took 6 months off and was a nanny, and I loved it. I loved it so much. But take that extra time and figure out what you really want to do. It might be something that's not in your major at all. And let me tell you a little tidbit of information. A lot of jobs, when you apply for them, don't even care what your major was. They only care if you have a degree. So if there's a job that you think you might like, but it wasn't what you got your degree in, apply for it, because a lot of times they don't care. If you're passionate about it and you show them that you're passionate about it, they care a lot more than if you got your degree in it. Thanks for watching this kind of rant, kind of tippy type video that I just threw together real quick, because it has been on my mind ever since I started applying for jobs. Like, it is such a stressful process, and I wanted others to know that they are not alone in this process. There are so many other people that are in the exact same boat as them, and eventually you will get a job. I got a job. If I can get a job that I really, really like, then you can get a job as well, I promise. That's the end of my video. Thanks for watching Simply Emily, and make sure to give me the big thumbs up and leave a comment below if you are going through the same exact thing, or if you have your life on a straight path, you know what you're doing. I am proud of you once again. Also, make sure to check out my other social media that is linked in my channel. I have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, so whatever you are into, I am also into. See you next time, guys. Thanks for watching.